Hello folks, Major Gosnell here, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Tripwire Interactives' latest update for the Killing Floor 2. Now, anybody who's following the forums or any of the gaming websites will be aware that there's been a bit of controversy around this. Basically, Tripwire on the 24th said that they were going to be releasing, in the latest update, cosmetic skins and for guns and characters, and basically this meant that there would be a microtransaction system introduced to the game. Now, the game is still only in early access, I should point out as well. Now, this led to a lot of complaints that it's a money grab and that basically Tripwire should be focusing more on the development of the game, not on microtransactions, etc., etc. Now, I'm here to disagree strongly with all this controversy. Personally, I think it's a storm in a teacup because, quite frankly, introducing cosmetic items to a game, microtransactions of that sort, a lot of very popular games do it, and it doesn't affect the way the game is played at all. For example, you have Counter-Strike, you have Dota, pretty much any of the Valve games have paid microtransactions. Another good example is Path of Exile, which has paid microtransactions for cosmetic items and emotes that in no way whatsoever affect the actual game. So there is, on the other hand, certain developers, such as Overkill, who introduced paid microtransactions for Payday 2, which offered guns with increased stats, which do directly affect how the game is played and does give an unfair advantage to those who can afford to buy these guns. Now, Overkill, fair dues to them, they did actually pull it after the outcry, and it was a justified outcry because a game's out, you buy a game believing that the multiplayer should be fair, and then people are given the unfair advantage if they have more money that they can actually afford to purchase better skills so that they can actually be better players. And that is wrong. Completely, utterly wrong. Without a question. However, when a game is releasing microtransactions for cosmetic items which in no way influence how the game is played, this isn't a problem. This is a way for the developer to be able to fund expansions, which they've stated in an interview, I might add, and to fund future updates. Anybody who's in the industry will know that game updates, keeping the studio running on a game that's already been released, it requires money. Now, should they incorporate that into the purchase price? They could, but no doubt then the community will be in uproar, oh, it's overpriced. Or they could add actual paid DLCs, which a lot of the big studios do, which are just ludicrous beyond belief. You have, for the example, the Total War franchise, which has become a literal whore for the DLC industry here. Now, the question is, why is this controversy developing? Why are gamers feeling so outraged that the studio is releasing cosmetic microtransactions? And I think it's actually reflective of what I see as a growing element within the gaming community in general, is that a lot of gamers are expecting stuff for nothing. They're expecting to be given everything for free. As something I've noticed, particularly I was a member of a gaming community, I won't name names, it's a prominent YouTuber's gaming community, of which, full disclosure, I am actually banned for other reasons. However, one thing I noticed within that community was that there was this element of, with free-to-play games in particular, that they weren't good enough unless they offered the gamer everything for free. That there shouldn't be any microtransactions whatsoever. And that brings up a whole other thing of what's actually free to play and what's not free to play. Fair enough. But I couldn't help but feel that there was this element from particularly a younger generation, I'm talking under 20s, who felt that they should be given everything for free. And I just found it very immature. And I think this is what generates these controversies when games such as Killing Floor 2 actually announced that they're going to have these microtransactions, because it's sort of become the norm for controversies to develop and gamers to get their way sometimes. And I think gamers are sort of maybe pushing it a little too far in that extreme. And any little thing that they can hop on the developers' backs for, they will hop on the developers' backs. I strongly disagree with it. What Killing Floor is doing is a business move. Fair enough, they are trying to make money. But they're doing it in a way that doesn't affect the core of the game. Also, in an interview released by Tripwire Interactive, they stated, that nobody from the development team on the base game it was actually pulled for this microtransaction system. So the question is, why gamers are finding this so abhorrent? They're just reading a post online. They're not actually researching what it actually means. They're jumping to conclusions, accusing the developer of not developing the game over favor of microtransactions without even knowing what the fuck they're talking about. So I just hope people listen to this video and hopefully start drawing their own conclusions about what exactly is okay and what's not okay in games development. In my opinion, what Killing Floor 2 is doing here, Tripwire Interactive is doing here, is perfectly okay. Personally, I won't be buying the game. I'm not a big fan of Killing Floor. I find it a little too simplistic for me, but that's another story for another debate. Long term, though, likes Payday with the weapon upgrades and stuff like that, yeah, that's wrong. But when it's cosmetic items, lots of games have proven that it's effective. Counter-Strike's been doing it for a large number of years. I just have to say to the community in general who's getting all up in arms over this, grow up and realize what you're actually complaining about. Actually do a bit of research before you start moaning and bitching on the forums, okay? Because quite frankly, you're making the rest of us gamers seem like fucking idiots. And when there's actually a genuine controversy with a developer doing some dodgy shit, you're actually weakening us in our standpoint. Oh, the gamers are complaining again. So I hope you bear that in mind, and thanks for watching, guys.